Hey everyone, I'm Nadine and I'm the creative director for Rivelle Knits, and today I'm going to show you how to do a cast on. So, what exactly is a cast on? A cast on is the foundation layer of your knitting. It's how you place your first stitches onto your needle to anchor all of your work. You can think of it as a starting point that allows you to build your entire project from there. So, let's jump right in and get started with the cast on.
Before we begin, you'll need just two things: a pair of knitting needles and some yarn. For this project, we're using 8mm yarn paired with larger needles. You can choose any size yarn and needles you like, but if you're a beginner, working with bigger sizes makes everything easier to see and handle. Let's get started with the cast on. To begin the long tail cast on, identify the tail end of your yarn, the cut end that is not attached to the ball. Measure about 5 inches from this point. This short length is just for demonstration purposes. Normally, you would leave a longer tail for a full project. This gives you enough slack to practice the motions. We'll start by forming a slip knot, which acts as your first stitch on the needle. First, hold the yarn so the tail end is in your left hand and the working yarn, connected to the ball, is in your right hand. Second, wrap the working yarn around your index and middle finger twice. Third, the second loop you wrapped should now be in front. Fourth, slide your needle, or fingers, under the back loop, pull it over the front loop, and drop the loops off your fingers. You'll now have a knot. Now, pull gently to tighten and adjust the loop so it fits comfortably on your needle. After placing the slip knot on your needle, hold the needle in your right hand. With your left hand, separate the yarn into two strands. Tail yarn goes over your thumb, working yarn goes over your needle. Take the tail yarn and wrap it over your thumb in a clockwise motion. Take the needle and go under the yarn that's wrapped around the thumb. Now let's do the needle loop. Move the yarn over the needle and scoop it in a counterclockwise motion. Now, drop the thumb loop off your thumb to the needle. Then gently tighten the new stitch. Let's go through the motion again. Bring the needle up through the loop on your thumb in a clockwise motion. Scoop the needle under the yarn of where your thumb is. Now, wrap the working yarn around the needle in a counterclockwise motion. Drop the thumb loop onto the needle and gently tighten the new stitch. Each time you repeat this motion, you're creating one new cast-on stitch and building that even braided edge along the bottom. After you finish casting on, you should have around 2 to 3 inches of tail yarn left. You'll use this later when you weave in the end to keep your knitting from unraveling. While you're casting on, take a moment to inspect the braid at the bottom. It should look smooth and even, with no crossed or twisted loops. FAQ 1. In the example, we just took something small, like 5 inches from the tail, to practice the cast on. But how do you know how much slack to leave for the long tail cast on? Let's say you're making a small napkin that needs to be 3 inches wide. Typically, the cast on will be 3 to 4 times longer than the requirement. So in this case, you'll want to have a slack, or yarn, that's around 9 to 12 inches. From the tail, measure around 9 to 12 inches. From that point, that's where you create the loop. FAQ 2. When you're done creating the cast on, you'll have about a few inches left of the tail. This will be used later to weave in the ends. When doing the cast on, the tail is on the left and the working yarn that's tied to the ball is on the right all the time. FAQ 3. For beginners, it would be better to use bamboo needles than metal. I was using metal. Metal can be slippery, and bamboo has a little bit more resistance, so the stitches don't slip off the needle by accident. FAQ 4. If the braid doesn't look even, unravel it to the point where the mistake happened and redo the cast on. So now I'm going to unravel some stitches past the mistake that happened and redo the full cast on again. Now you can see that the braids are even when aligned. This wraps up the cast-on section. In this guide, you practice making a slip knot and beginning your first row of stitches.